Alright guys, right here on the line again. Picked up this dog last night in a grab and die set, and had a lot of requests about grab and dies. Most folks haven't heard of them. There's 100 different ways to do it. I'm going to do one of the variations of how we do it. I wish I could talk a little bit about this location, but I can't film too much because I don't want to give up the location because some yahoos are liable to come and mess with everything. It is a big open field. I will say where we picked this dog up, it does look like it's very unorthodox. What I can give away is we do have a draw station or a bait station, and these traps are all, in terms of the wind how the wind goes, they're placed where they need to be to pick these dogs up. And that's about all I can say about it. I just don't want to give up the location until maybe after we're done trapping them. So let me dispatch this dog, and then we'll be right back and film the remake. All right guys, we're back. Grab and die. Most trappers I talk to aren't familiar with it at all, and the whole idea is simply putting something there that's going to entice that dog to want to grab a hold of it and bite it and pull on it until it gets caught. Probably hands down the best thing to use is a bone. Here in West Virginia we can't use a bone because it's considered exposed bait, so make sure you know your trapping laws and regulations. So I use a dowel rod, and this is blue felt. I also use blue vet tape, and you know, whether you believe it or not, all the studies show and indicate that coyotes they can see the color blue. That's why I use blue. It stands out to them, they see it. I'm not saying other colors won't work, but this one happens to work for us. You can use PVC, some guys use rebar. There's a myriad of things you can use. I like the felt. Leanne and I just make these. We hot glue the felt on there, and then when you rub that lure in there, it kind of soaks in there and saturates, and it stays in there. That's pretty much why I use it. So again, the whole premise of the set is to put something in here, drive it in the ground, make that dog want to bite it and pull on it until he gets caught. So it's real simple. I'll show you what we do here. I don't know if you can tell in the video, maybe once it's zoomed in, this is actually like a step down. I mean, so there's the ground, there's a step down here, and I'll tell you why I do that. It seems like I have more success when I put a little step down or an indention in front of the stick. There's a couple different ways to do this. I'll do another one some other time, but a lot of guys, you can put it in the ground because there's really no way of knowing which way that dog's going to work it. You can use two traps, one on each side of the stick. This one, by putting this little step down in here, for whatever reason, it generally indicates to the dog that he needs to step there, and they use it. So you just might want to keep that in mind when you're making it. Also usually indicates that you're going to have a pretty deep pad catch on these step downs. So then I always put that hole in there, whether it be for drainage or whatever, but put your chain in there. It gives you a good solid bed. Driveway heat in the bed. It's been warm during the day, probably upper 40s, low 50s, but then it's getting down to, actually we were in the teens the other night. Alright, that trap's bedded. Again, super solid. I know we say it all the time, over and over. If it's not solid, you're not going to do very well. I use regular table salt. Salt around the jaws, especially if you use anything to pack in there around those jaws, you want to salt that good so it doesn't freeze up. Trapper's cap and super dry peat. See how that peat's blowing in the wind? It won't be completely waterproof, but super dry peat moss will repel a ton of water. Some folks don't pack it. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but we have better success when we actually kind of pack that in there pretty good. And salt that. And I'll just use a little more peat and that'll be done. Alright, so there you go. There's your, just your pans, all you got left as far as the soft spot. And again, I hope you can pick up in the video that there's an indentation here, and for whatever reason, I found out when I'm running these grab and dies that they'll generally always step in the indentation. Now, I take my driver, any driver, you just want something smaller than what you're getting ready to put in the ground. You want to force this in that hole, because I'm telling you, if you make a big hole and you just drop this in there and they're here for any time at all, they're going to take your stick away. Everybody's had it happen. Now what I do is I like my stick closer to the ground. Some guys have them elevated. I like mine closer because it's got to make, that dog has to get his head down there, like down here to pull it. And when he does, it brings his feet up here. His neck's not long enough to stand way out here and grab it, so he has to get way up there, get his head down there, and when he does, his paws are going to be up here moving to hold him up. Actually, the dog broke our stick. Laid here and chewed on it, but I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but you can see where all that stuff's saturated in there. It's all over the felt, it's all in the wood. It just works really well. And probably not. I might have to break that off of there. But you won't hurt anything, you just won't have quite as much in the ground. I usually put that in there like that, and then I'll take the top of my driver and just lay it on top of it so I don't bust it up too bad. Now that's in the ground. They're not going to pull it out. Now it's a little, I usually have more than that in the ground, but like I said, the dog broke our stick and I don't have another one with me. But that's pretty much it. And again, this dog may come behind this thing. He may pull on the bit from up here, but 9 out of 10 times when he can't get that out of the ground, he's going to circle it. He's going to step in this hole. So I'll finish the setup. With some wax dirt. And I'll take my sifter and all this loose grass that he's torn up, which is, I'm not saying you can't catch with that just like it is. But you're going to have a better chance if you try to blend that a little bit. You don't want it super heavy. You don't want, I see lots of guys, they put lots of grass in their bed. And when you do that, that trap goes to close and you show up with a miss. And your jaws or your levers are plumb full of grass. That's all we're going to do to it. I'm not going to rebait or not relure that stick. I will tell you this, you got to do your homework, because there are lures out there and even baits, and I won't make you do your homework. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what all of them are. I have my favorites, but they initiate that bite and pull reaction from that canine. I'm not saying you can't just put something on that, but if you put something on there that's going to initiate like a digging response, he's probably going to pull around a lot of this up here. You want something on there that's going to make that dog's instincts want to bite that thing and pull it and try to pull it out of there. Again, that's just the way we do it. There's 100 different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. Of course, I guess it's wrong if you're not catching canines, but I feel like if you use this, if you put that little indention in front of that thing, you're going to get good results. Anyway, that's our grab and dive for today. We'll do another one at some point this season. Like we always say, if there's anything that we can do to help you, just reach out to us. Catch you somewhere else down the line.